I'm WattUNeed, watching my channel. As you can see, we're going to discuss a number of different topics. This is impromptu live. It's very early in the morning as well, so I don't really expect a lot of people to be on this live, but if you guys are on this live, cool. I'm WattUNeed, you watch my channel. If you like what you're seeing, don't forget you can like, share, subscribe. If you want to, you can also donate via PayPal. The link is in the comment section. This stream is brought to you by LIVE. LIVE, live now. We're live now. We have a range of LIVE products. I'm just going to show you the cleaning products line, not the drinks today. The cleaning products line involves the disinfectant, which is this disinfectant. We also have dishwashing liquid, and we also have a liquid detergent, as well as we have fabric softener. LIVE, live now, we're live. Now, all praise be to the Most High God. The Most High God comes first. Let's get into the boxing. So let's just talk first about Dmitry Bivol versus Artur Beterbiev. Some closing comments on that fight, which was a big fight, by the way, over the weekend, which was really good. One, I wanted to put up some more videos, actually showing you guys certain rounds and the highlight punches of the rounds. And there is no mistake in this. Dmitry Bivol had most of the highlights for the entire fight, round by round. The highlight rounds, the guy who hit really through the maximum amount of power punches, who actually had power punches that landed clean and flush, was Dmitry Bivol. Okay. But even further than that is the fact that Dmitry Bivol hardly got touched in this fight with any clean punches from Artur Beterbiev. Testimony to the fact that Dmitry Bivol is a defensive boxer. Now, we saw in the fight Dmitry Bivol get hit flush by Artur Beterbiev with good power. And it's a totally different body reaction to him being punched on the arms and punched around on the arms and the elbows. Okay? It's a totally different reaction he has to that. And Bivol, you have to understand, if he were to get hit by Beterbiev, he would get stopped. He would get stopped, okay? Now, I believe it was in round number 7, if I'm not mistaken. Dmitry Bivol, he got caught with a 2-3. I remember Artur Beterbiev catching him. He hurt Beterbiev. Shout out to Crazy World 100. Seems like a smart OG back the fuck up, though. I'm not sure what you mean by that, my friend, because Dmitry Bivol did not back up much in that fight. He actually stood his ground, stayed in the center of the ring for most of the fight. So once again, I don't know what you're talking about. If you really pay attention to boxing, you know that. But anyway, back to what I was saying. So Dmitry Bivol, I saw him not get hit much by Beterbiev. And this is the key part here. Defense allows you, proper defense, allows you to be able to see what your opponent is doing. Obviously, Bivol prepared for Artur Beterbiev. And I'm going to talk a little bit about a couple things. So the couple of things that Dmitry Bivol was able to do, the following things he was able to do. One, he was able to disrupt Artur Beterbiev's offense. Artur Beterbiev likes to go weak side, and he does so by using what is known as an L step. Okay, those of you don't know what an L step is, I could demonstrate it, but I'm just going to talk a little bit. This is just a comment section. I'm just going to be commenting on things. Crazy World says that's why you got one view. I don't know what you're talking about, brother. Crazy World says you're too close to the camera, bro. No, I'm not. So back to what I was saying. So Dmitry Bivol, he was able to disrupt Artur Beterbiev going to the weak side by jabbing him as he's stepping in that L step to go to the weak side to throw his right hand. Because what a lot of you guys don't realize is Artur Beterbiev, his major weapon is his right hand. And Dmitry Bivol realized he's not a one-handed fighter per se, but he favors his right hand. And so Dmitry Bivol, if you notice, was able to take that away from Artur Beterbiev. He knew he had to watch out for the right hand. for most of the fight. Now, even though Artur Beterbiev, Dmitry Bivol admitted that Artur Beterbiev hit his guard so hard that his guard hurt his left eye, which would be the right hand, pounding on it. And I believe he hurt his eye. Let me tell you when he hurt his eye. So in the fight, if I'm not mistaken, it was somewhere in, I believe it was the 7th round when Artur Beterbiev countered him with a right hand left hook. So what happened was Dmitry Bivol hurt Artur Beterbiev and was trying to crash him. He was trying to come through and crash him. And as he was trying to crash him against the ropes, Artur Beterbiev threw a right hand left hook, both of which landed on Dmitry Bivol and stunned him. Right, and he closed up everything. And CC Motion 1998 says, yeah, his left hand isn't really that great in my opinion. Yeah, it's not that his left hand is not great. Beterbiev has a heavy hands, period. Sort of like Kovalov. He has heavy hands. The problem wasn't his left hand. It's just that he favors his right hand. He throws a lot of right hands. Okay. So anyway, Dmitry Bivol, when he got caught with that, I think that started to hurt his eye. And then I think coming to the end of the 10th round, Artur Beterbiev was throwing a lot of shots. And I saw him throw a very short right hand. And even though Bivol blocked the punch, it was so thudding. It was so powerful that I believe his left eye was already swelling up. I think it ruptured his left eye over his left eye. And I think that's what caused the cut over his left eye. Right? So, that's what happened. Now, with respect to this fight and why I really enjoy it, M.A. Dub says, I'm not too sure what M.A. Dub is saying there. He seems to be gritting his teeth, which is too bad. What I noticed is this, that this fight went the way of a typical, like we said, Sugar Ray Leonard, Marvin Hagler somewhat, and I'll explain what I mean. Bivol was more like Sugar Ray Leonard, but not exactly like Sugar Ray Leonard in the sense that he stood his ground a lot more than Sugar Ray Leonard did against Marvin Hagler. But when he needed to move to, again, offset Bivol, so Bivol wouldn't go into his usual offense, he offset him. Okay, so Bivol would move around the ring sometimes because he's trying to not only maintain range, but he's also not trying to get Beterbiev to set and to fall into a rhythm. He's trying to disrupt him. So one of the major things that made Bivol very successful in this fight was, one, he knew how Artur Beterbiev's offense ran. He knew what Artur Beterbiev favored, and he was able to prepare for that, which is why Artur Beterbiev has to try something different than what he's used to doing in the rematch, which will definitely be happening. There will be a rematch, I'm pretty sure. Beterbiev has to change up something in his game. Beterbiev gets caught. Now, Bivol's a guy, you slip up, he's going to catch you anyway, right? He's very, very sharp. He's a little sloppy with his punches, the arc a little bit, but for the most part, he's sharp. CC Motion 1998 says that was a nasty hit too. He found an opening and took advantage of it. Yeah, with the counter in round 7, definitely. In the counter in round 7, I give him props. Now, let me just say a couple things, right? I think I've been sort of not telling everybody everything about this fight and the good and the pluses and the minuses about the fight, in the sense of this, okay, that Beterbiev's not a bad boxer at all. He can box and he's good. It's just Bivol's just that much better than him, you know. So anyway, back to what we were saying. So Beterbiev, he tried to close the distance, but every time he tries to close the distance, remember, he's using the touch jab. So he's touch jabbing Bivol, he's touch jabbing him, but Bivol's setting a trap, kind of like with Canelo and Triple G. Bivol's actually allowing Beterbiev to touch jab him so that Beterbiev now starts to dictate range. A lot of people are saying, well, you know, when Beterbiev was touching Bivol's hand, he was keeping his hands at home. No, dummy. No, Bivol is letting Beterbiev dictate the not dictate, but measure the range so that he can counter Beterbiev. And if you notice in the fight, so Bivol started off jabbing first. He was the guy that just started the jabs, right? And then he would use counter jabs and etc. But if you pay proper attention to the fight, you will notice that Bivol kept on countering Beterbiev's jab. And at a certain point, Beterbiev stopped jabbing. And the reason that happened was because Bivol kept on either slipping or blocking the jab. He had a high guard so he could respond really quickly and throw a lot of combinations behind his jab. And as a result of that, he was able to counter Beterbiev's jab because Beterbiev was doing the work for him. He didn't need to jab anymore, right? And he kept on moving at a certain distance. He wanted to make sure he was a certain distance away from Beterbiev most of the time. What was interesting to me in round 11 was Bivol actually closed the distance on Beterbiev and was walking to him with his hands up and just sort of putting his head into Beterbiev's chest and pushing him around. I thought it was pretty interesting, okay? The imitator of Jesus says, get a better haircut. Okay, you're really a fickle guy, first of all. And maybe you don't have chest here and body here and stuff like that. And that's on you, buddy. You know, if you don't have nobody here, that's on you. You know, but I just happen to be a man. And therefore I have a lot of hair on my face and body. And I'm very proud that I have hair on me. Maybe you can't grow none, so you jealous. Fool 27 says, Brother Muhammad, don't listen to the haters. Don't know who you're talking about, brother, because I'm not a Muhammad. So keeping it going. I'm not even Muslim. So keeping it going. So you will notice that a couple things happen in this fight. Now, like I said before, their game plan and stuff. But the important thing I'm saying is that Bivol would disrupt what Beterbiev was doing. And the other thing he was doing was he was keeping his defense so tight and he could counter off of that defense. So what happens is if you look at what Bivol was doing to Beterbiev in terms of his lead hand, I told you all about this. How he was sweeping with the lead hand, how he was occupying with the lead hand. Beterbiev, he was using a lot of touch jabs. But Bivol was varying his lead hand and what his lead hand would do. He would shoot as if he's going to throw a hook. So he would sort of, as I said, whip the punch around. Okay, he'd come from outside here. So if I can just kind of step back a little bit, he'd come from outside here and push the punch around, but it's actually coming straight at you. So in other words, it's not a hook, it's a jab. So he would throw something almost like looking like a power jab, sort of like. But it really looks like it's masked as if it's a hook, and then it comes straight at you. Sometimes then he would mix it up with the hook. The other tricky little thing he was doing was using the circular motion of the hand. I'm a southpaw, so that's why I'm using my right hand as the lead hand. Okay, but he would use the hand as a circular motion, and he would touch. I wish I could, I could demonstrate, but then I might lose battery power. So I won't demonstrate today. But he would touch Bivol's, sometimes he would touch his lead hand, sometimes he would touch his power hand, and then right off of touching it, he would throw a jab straight down the middle and catch Beterbiev with it. I don't know if you guys saw that. So he used different kinds of jabs as he was occupying and obfuscating. But the trick with it with Bivol was this: he was always keeping a certain range. See, you can stand in front of a guy if you know you're safely out of range, right? You're just on the cusp. And the thing with Beterbiev is he's a mid-range fighter, but he also fights sort of barely on the outside of the other fighter's range. He tries to stay there. So they both kind of do the same thing. The difference is Bivol has more variety with his jabbing. So, he can whip a hook off a jab. He can, throw what looks like a hook, but it really turns into a jab. He can touch jab you, different points, and then probably double jab through it. I saw him stiff arm Beterbiev. He stiff-armed him and pushed him back. So you're not supposed to do that. That's illegal, though. But he stiff-armed him, and then after when Beterbiev was on the end of this, he doubled it up like that, and he pushed him back. I saw him use the lead hand to frame Beterbiev. What I mean by that is, so he's throwing the jab, right? He keeps the jabbing hand out there just a little longer. He's doing it as if he's retracting it, but he's really closing the distance. So one of the tricky ways, I have to demonstrate this because I think this is something worth. I'm a southpaw, so I need to go orthodox for this one. Battery power is kind of low, though. But I just want to demonstrate this because this is something tricky. If you want to close the distance, right? But you don't want to stiff arm someone. So I'm here. If I throw this and I keep this out here, I'm stiff arming it, which is illegal. However, if I throw my jab and I slide in off the jab, it looks like if I am retracting my arm, but I'm not. I've extended my arm and I slide in off the arm. So I frame you so you're off to the side here. Let me show you again. So here I am. Let me try and straighten it up a little bit. Okay, so here I am, right? I throw the jab and I slide in. I frame in here. Now I've seen Bivol do that a couple times with Beterbiev to keep him off to the side here. So I slide in with my jab off of the side, whether I hit you or not, and I frame you here. Okay? Now when I keep you in a frame here, you can't hit me. You can't go over my, because I can just do like that. Right? Okay. And if you try to go under, I can just do like that. Right? And use the shoulder. Okay? Because this whole entire instrument is my weapon. Right? So I wanted to show you guys that because a lot of you don't, like I said, you don't understand the sweet science, which is cool. It's cool. But like Bivol was doing all kinds of things in there that are really interesting and nuanced. And some of y'all might have missed that stuff. So the use of the lead hand is really imperative. Now, I'll show you something else. Oh, fuck. My battery power is not the highest in the world. But I want to show you something else, all right? So you saw him do two very important things. And it all has to do with defense. If somebody, now let me just make this mention. Beterbiev, one of the things I noticed about Beterbiev was very good about him is when he's fighting, he has his chin tucked. His chin always stays to his chest. That guy, his chin's glued to his chest. The only time his chin's not glued to his chest is when he's throwing a jab and he's leaping forward. His chin is out like this. That's when he's open, right? Now, Bivol's a clever guy. I can't tell you how clever he is with his boxing. He's a little sloppy with his boxing. I'm not going to try, but he's clever. Let me explain what I mean. If you throw the lead hand, okay? Let's say I throw the lead hand, I step in off the lead hand, right? And the guy's coming with a counter over the top. What you do is you dip under the lead hand, keeping it extended. I frame him off, and I dip under the lead hand. I come back up and I frame him. You understand? And you saw Bivol do that a couple times. That's how he nullified the right hand of Beterbiev. I take away your right hand simply by using my lead hand properly. You see? These are all little tricks of the trade. And then I can push you off if I want to. And he did. There were two times when Bivol did this to send a message to Beterbiev. These are all psychological things. So for example, right? I throw the lead hand. He's coming over the top. So I dip under the lead hand. I frame him at the same time. All right. If I want to, I shell up and I walk to you and I push you off. I can push you off with the lead hand like this. And you seen Bivol do that. Push him off with the lead hand like this. Push him off with the lead hand like this. Remember it's at an angle, so I'll push him off to the side like this. Okay. I push him off of me and I pivot. Right. So that's what kind of happened. And you saw Bivol do that a couple of times. He pushed him off to show him, I'm physically strong. You can try to rough me up, but I'm physically strong. I can have my stories at the same time. You know what I'm saying? And here's another thing. In the 11th round, what a lot of y'all didn't see and y'all didn't understand what was going on in that ring. When Bevo was tied up like this, he was tight like this. He was closing the distance. He was walking to Beterbiev in the 11th round. While he was conserving his energy and stuff, he never tried to run around the ring, right? He never tried to box and run around the ring away from Beterbiev. He tried instead to come right up into him, and he was moving right into him. And he was bumping him, but he's keeping the defense tight. The idea behind that is he's saying, I can push you to the ropes. I can physically push you, but doing it without clinching. Okay? He's doing it without clinching. Now, the other thing that's really cool about this is this. As he's doing that, right? As he's doing that, Beterbiev now is having a certain degree of doubt within himself because his right hand ain't working. In the 11th round, he threw a lot of right hands. He threw left hand, right hand combinations, nice short crisp shots. Beterbiev, nice short crisp shots. Right there. Right there. Right there. Nice and short, right? He's throwing the nice short shots. He starts with the double jab. He touch jab him, but bap, bap, whap, whap, right? Right? He's working the inside, right? But nothing's happening. Okay? He's pounding on Bevo, but nothing's happening. And the guy, he's taking his head and shoving it in his chest and pushing him back. If he wants to push him away from the ropes, because if you notice, at no point in time in that fight, it's very important, did Beterbiev ever catch Bevo on the ropes and had him pinned down in the ropes. He never cut off the ring. I wonder if you guys noticed that. At no point in time in that fight did Beterbiev cut off the ring. Anybody telling you that don't know shit about boxing. Once Bevo's back touched the ring, he bounced off. He didn't stay on the ring very long. So Beterbiev was ineffective at cutting off the ring and cutting down Bevo and then landing his combinations on Bevo as he wanted to. Couldn't even do that. I don't know how many of you realize that, but if you go and watch the fight, at no point in time did Beterbiev cut off that ring. Okay? Which means he's supposed to be a pressure fighter. That's the goal of the pressure fighter, is to cut off the ring and to beat down an opponent. That's the goal of a pressure fighter. And he couldn't do that. Who was gaining the objective? Who was in control is the question you have to ask yourself. A lot of people don't understand boxing. If they did, but what they watch at is, this guy, he's throwing some heavy punches. Look how he's moving the other guy. But he ain't landing shit. Right? Now, why was it that Beterbiev could not cut off the ring on Bevo? Footwork. Okay? Bevo would do as if he's going this way. Then he would change directions. He could do something like this, and then he moves back this way, and then he walks back this way. Right? He shuffled back this way. So Bevo could go this way or that way. It didn't matter. He could go wherever he want. Okay? Bevo understood that once he was at a certain range, he was not going to fight Beterbiev directly in front of him. If you pay attention to when Beterbiev is trying to pin down Bevo and throw combinations, Bevo is constantly moving or shifting his body at an angle to nullify particularly the right hand of Beterbiev. No, seriously, pay attention to what you're watching. A lot of y'all don't pay attention. Y'all don't understand the subtleties of boxing. To take away a guy's greatest weapon, to do that, you have to be aware in space where you are at all times. A defensive fighter, whether you're talking about Floyd Mayweather, whether you're talking about Shakur Stevenson, whether you're talking about Terrence Crawford, they are aware of where they are in the ring at all times. Another thing that's very interesting, and I'm going to show you guys something else. At the end of the round, is Bevo walking all the way across to his corner, or is it Beterbiev? Think about what I'm saying. Which means The ringmaster, the ring general, knows where he is in the ring at all times. Whether he's a pressure fighter or whether he's a beta and counter fighter. He knows where he is. You know what I'm saying? Now, if you don't know where you are in the ring, you're going to have to walk all the way back. Now, remember, Beterbiev's the old guy. Bevo's much younger. So how do we wear out the old guy? If I got legs, I'm going to make that old motherfucker walk all around the ring. I'm going to make him follow me all around the ring. I want to wear this motherfucker down somehow, some way. Game plan, strategy, think. You have to think. So I disrupt him. I know I can land clean shots on him. You know what Gvozdyc's problem was? Why he lost to Beterbiev, whereas Bivol's problem wasn't that? Gvozdyc got roughed up mostly in the clinches. Bivol would hit him rabbit punches and elbows and all kinds of shit in the clinches. How did Bivol avoid that? Ask yourself that question. Positioning, orientation of your body, using the lead hand properly. I told you, if a guy's on this side, he can't rough you up. He can't throw rabbit punches. I just keep the phone here. What are you gonna do? He can't do shit. I can use this whole entire thing and my shoulder. So if I have my shoulder up on him here, he can't come across me. He can only throw one hand, which is here, right? And this is this whole entire thing. So anything that I keep on this side of me can't come across here, except for the left hand. His left hand can come up, right? His left hand can come up. But other than that, nothing else can come. So he can't throw no set of combinations and hurt me. See? And how does it go? It goes from here to collapse right here, right? Goes from here to collapse right here. So I'm protected. So defense is what won Bivol this fight. Now people say, well, Bivol wasn't active enough. Okay, so let's talk about that. Because where punch chats will not get information correctly, a person who understands boxing gets it. Let me demonstrate what I mean. So for example, and that's why I said this is about teaching people boxing. Chris Algieri was livid about what happened with that fight. Paulie Malignaggi, tried to be an apologist for the judges, but Paulie Malignaggi knew that the judges don't know what the fuck they was watching. And he's right. Either they don't know what the fuck they were watching, or they chose to back this particular fighter. Because there's no way in God's green earth you're giving round 5 to Beterbiev. How the hell you can give round 5 to Beterbiev? He lost round 5. What his biggest moment, I think, in round 5 was a jab. He hit Bivol with a jab. I think that was it. Yeah. Bivol landed at least 3 out of the 6 punch combinations. He did it twice, and he hit him with a right hand left hook. He hit him with a right hand left hook. It wasn't flush. Bivol hit him with the 2 eye-catching combinations of the round. So how you can give Beterbiev the round for hitting Bivol with a jab, that's it. That was the whole thing. It didn't. Beterbiev did throw a lot of punches after, and all of them were blocked. Bivol landed, I believe it was a jab right hand or something like that, and then a right hand left hook. Big shots. Now, if Beterbiev hits Bivol, it looks totally different. If Beterbiev hits Bivol with Bivol blocks him. It looks totally different, ladies and gentlemen. Okay? Because Bivol, when he gets hit flush by Beterbiev, it's a totally different picture, ladies and gentlemen. Okay? Beterbiev has power, serious power. He's strong, right? You don't want to be caught with too many shots, and that's what Bivol said. He didn't want to be caught with too much. You know, he preferred to block it than to get hit flush with it. You know what I'm saying? All right. So people are saying the activity of Beterbiev is what won him the fight. And I'm going to show you how I totally disagree with that. Activity of an aggressor only plays a role in a fight if both fighters are landing about the same, or their effectiveness, as we say, is about the same. This fight wasn't that. Both fighters' effectiveness were not the same. One fighter was clearly in control of the fight. One fighter clearly had a superior defense in the fight. And one fighter was clearly landing clean, effective punches in the fight regularly. Okay? No matter the adjustments. There were a lot of adjustments that happened. I saw Beterbiev adjust to Bivol. I saw Bivol adjust to Beterbiev. And I can go into those some other time. But the point is, at no point in time except for the 11th round did Bivol, for the majority of the round that is, not punch. The only round where Bivol he completely did not punch at all was he started fighting and he landed a combination in the beginning of the 11th, and then throughout the rest of the 11th round, he didn't throw a punch. He didn't throw anything. Right? It was like he rested out the 11th round. Okay? And by default, you have to give the 11th round to Beterbiev because he was busy, he was active, he was putting in work. You have to reward a fighter for working. If the other guy's not doing anything, he's not throwing anything, you have to give the other fighter. A fighter cannot win a round not doing nothing but defense, right? So I gave Beterbiev, I believe, round 10 and round 11. Round 10 was a little different. But the activity was, I wouldn't say it was more or less the same. I think Beterbiev still was more active. But again, I think that he put in that work to deserve that round. Okay, it wasn't necessarily that he was doing effective aggression per se because most of his punches were blocked. But I do believe he hit Bivol with a nice body shot. And I remember also him hitting him with he hit him with I think it was a jab or something, you know, because his right hand wasn't landing shit. And that most of that fight, his right hand wasn't landing shit. You know, he just wasn't landing shit. You know, and I looked to see where I could give him rounds. I was actually looking to see how I can give him rounds. Initially, I gave Bivol round 10. But then I turned around and said, nah, he worked hard enough for that. He should get round 10. You know what I'm saying? So I can understand a fighter getting a round based on activity or hustle if that fighter, for example, you know, if the other fighter is not throwing much offense. You know what I'm saying? If one fighter is killing himself, working real hard, he's outworking the other fighter, right? Now telling me that throwing touch jabs and staying busy that way and throwing a whole bunch of touch jabs that are not landing at all. I mean, at least Gennady Golovkin's touch jabs used to touch Canelo's forehead. These touch jabs ain't landing shit, and they ain't doing nothing. You know, listen, what I find interesting about this fight is this. You know, Floyd used to say, nope. You could call Artur Beterbiev versus Dmitry Bivol the nope fest. There's a lot of no's going on there. You know, it's nope. It's like a nope fest. You know? I mean, it was a masterclass by Dmitry Bivol, in my opinion. I had it 9-5. I've come to realize the same thing as Andrew Ward. I think Andrew Ward wouldn't have, I don't know if he gave Bivol the 12th round. I gave Bivol the 12th round, definitely, hands down. But definitely Bivol won rounds 9, rounds 8, rounds 1 to 5. The people saying people didn't win round 5, y'all smoking some kind of crack. How can you win rounds 1 to 5? That means you need 2 more rounds. You win rounds 8 and 9. I don't disagree that Beterbiev won round 6 and round 7. You're not going to get no complaints from me. 6, 7, that was Beterbiev. 8, some people are saying that round 8, Beterbiev won round. I don't understand it. Y'all going to have to show me that. You're going to walk me through round 8 and show me how Beterbiev won round 8. And no, I don't think it's a swing round. I don't think so. You look at the highlight reels at the end of round 8. All we get is Bivol. And remember, why I say highlight reels and why this is important is because, as we all know, all punches are not equal, right? But at the end of the day, they won't be showing the highlight reel about these particular kinds of punches if it wasn't for the fact that it just stood out. It was such clear shots. It stood out. Yes, Bivol punches harder than Beterbiev, punches harder than Bivol. Nobody's saying no. Nobody's questioning that, right? But if Bivol's landing that clean a punch, I mean, Floyd Mayweather, lots of guys punched harder than Floyd Mayweather. But the clean, crisp shots that Floyd, it's unquestionable. When you see Bivol hit, Beterbiev to head and body with crisp, clean, free punch combinations. Out of 5, 6 punches, he hits Beterbiev with like 2 or 3 or 4. Okay? You can't give the round to Beterbiev. You just can't. I don't care how much he's chasing down Bivol and throwing those little touch jabs and trying to, overwhelm him with punches. You can't. You just can't. And usually Beterbiev is trying to take up the ante at the end of the round. He's not doing it all round. Okay? You can't give a guy stuff that he don't deserve. He just don't deserve. You know what I'm saying? So that is why a lot of people scored this fight for Dmitry Bivol. Some people think it was a close fight. I don't think it was close. I think it was competitive. Don't get me wrong. It was competitive. Was it close? No, I don't think so. I think the ring general was Bivol. I don't think at any point in this fight, Bivol wasn't in control of the fight. If he lost control of that fight and we had a Beterbiev fight, he'd have got knocked out. He'd have got knocked out. I can guarantee that. Because Beterbiev can punch, and if he can wear you down, you're going to lapse in your defense. And what happened to Gvozdyk would have happened to Bivol. But Bivol, as I said before, the way how he disrupted Beterbiev from using his right, he took away his right hand. The entire fight, he took away his right hand. What I mean by take away his right hand wasn't effective. His right hand wasn't able to do much in the fight. He took away his right hand. And you take away Beterbiev's right hand, you pretty much take away his major weapon. That's his major weapon for the fights. And Bivol was able to throw combinations, right hand, left hooks, a lot of stuff. I think that when it comes to talking about boxing, a lot of us get caught up in European Hitman says, my boy looked like Devin Haney's dad off Timu. Isaiah Reeves. Okay, my brother, whatever. European Hitman says, what is we take his legs away? I think what if we take his legs away? The thing about it is you can't take a guy's legs away if you don't attack the body. And not for a lack of trying, Beterbiev did try to go to Bivol's body. But there are 2 reasons why he couldn't go to his body like he wanted to. First one was Bivol established range. Bivol has established range for that fight. And the way he was moving kept Beterbiev from landing those body shots he wanted to land. And Beterbiev is not a guy that really throws long looping shots, and he doesn't really throw long shots. He throws straight, crisp, short shots. Okay? So he was never really in range to take advantage of that situation. And the second thing is, Bevel's really good at defending his body. He's got them long arms with them elbows, and you gonna be punching elbows, man. You gonna be punching elbows. I saw Beterbiev throw a right to the body, and he tried to wing it. He kind of sweep it. But Bevel got his elbow in there, and he braced for the impact. Bevel could see what Beterbiev was trying to do because he understood Beterbiev's major weapon is his right hand. So he knows he was going to use his right hand anyway. So he was bracing for that. So to take away Bevel's legs is a very difficult thing because you got to close the distance to take his legs away, which means you got to use your legs to close the distance to get to him. And then two, the other problem is when you do get to him, like Winky Wright, like, Joshua Clottey and all these kinds of guys with serious defense, he closed down shop. You can't hit nothing. He just shells up and you can't hit nothing. The way to get to Bivol is the way Beterbiev was able to counter him in round number 7. You got to get Bivol to open up and throw a bunch of shots, and maybe in between there, you can catch him with something and hurt him. But even then, when you try to jump on him, do understand he's still dangerous because he's going to shell up, but he's watching you behind that shell, and he's looking to counter you like he countered Canelo and how he countered Beterbiev and hurt Beterbiev. I believe it was in spots in the fight he hurt him because, see, Beterbiev, it's not about a whole bunch of power. It's about being able to expect a shot, right, to brace for it. And Bivol is so quick. He throws these quick, rapid machine gun fire shots. And if you don't pay attention, you'll be on the floor. And Beterbiev was like, I ain't want to go into that. I don't know what could happen. He got enough power. He got enough pop. But you can't ignore it. And that's why Beterbiev was approaching Bivol with such caution. Even though he tried to take up the ante in the 12th, sometimes you stand up watching Bivol be watching him because he ain't just going to go in there and just get, tattooed like that. And you don't know what you can get dropped with something that he didn't throw no heat on and you just get dropped. You can get dropped stupid like that. So Beterbiev is a smart fighter. So he wasn't just going to storm in there and get dropped. He'd been dropped by several people already. So he didn't want to. European Hitman says, what if he does the good old Scorpion? I mean, here's the thing. For Beterbiev, he need to get his boxing IQ up even more. He's still, as he said, he admitted, he's still learning boxing. So he has to get his IQ. His major weapon is his right hand. You gotta have more weapons than that. And they ain't gonna change now. You 39 years, you almost 40 years old. That ain't gonna change anytime soon. So his thing is to try maybe improve his footwork a little bit more. He won the fight, so he don't have to worry too much about doing anything too different. But I'll tell you this. If he comes back into the rematch doing the same shit he was doing, Bivol gonna make it real obvious how a different level he is to Beterbiev. Because again, being tough is one thing. I mean, Beterbiev is tough like Triple G, right? Triple G, Canelo. I always refer to Canelo Alvarez versus Triple G. The first fight. A lot of people out here will say, well, I listen to mainstream people and even some of the smaller channels echo the sentiment that, we knew that Triple G beat Canelo. And they keep on saying it over and over as if that's true. But you never give a single shed of evidence to prove that Triple G beat Canelo. You tell me about his jab. His jab didn't do shit. It's a touch jab. Didn't do shit to Canelo. In fact, even worse than the Bivol fight, because Bivol, at least he had a little mark on his eye, on his left eye, a little bruising. Canelo didn't have a single bruise when he fought Triple G the first time. Not even a single bruise. Been tattooing up Triple G and then just stepping away and circling the ring. And he'd be circling the ring one way and Triple G could not cut off the ring either. This is why I can't understand. How is Beterbiev winning this fight when he, one, can't cut off the ring when he's chasing down Bivol, and two, Bivol standing in front of him in the center of the ring, he ain't doing shit. Right? He just watching the Bivol at times, and Bivol just be standing in front of him, not doing anything, and he's not doing anything either. Right? Bivol held the center of the ring. Bivol even walked down Beterbiev at certain points. And Bivol also circled the ring when he needed to circle it. Okay, Canelo, same thing. Okay, they gave Canelo a draw. So you have to ask yourself if these judges even know what the fuck they be watching. I remember Adelaide Bird. They went in on her. Oh, she had Canelo beaten Triple G, 9-3, and I had it the same way. And people were like, and she was like, it's boxing, and she could explain herself. And they still tried to revile her for that because you had so many Triple G fanboys out here talking about, oh, it should have been a draw, it should have been a close fight. I'm like, this is not a close fight. What did Triple G land? What power shots did he land? I think he had one moment where he caught Canelo with something. And that was it in the entire fight. Canelo had many moments where he was tattooing up Triple G. But he's coming up in weight. He's a smaller guy. Bivol's a smaller guy than Beterbiev. Beterbiev's coming down in weight to light heavyweight. And Bivol's coming up in weight from super middleweight. He's a smaller guy. Right? Y'all know this. Y'all know that Beterbiev's the weight bully in that fucking situation. But y'all are hypocrites. Y'all are hypocrites. Canelo came up in weight to face Triple G that first time. He boxed him. Boxed his sucks off. Boxed his ears off. Triple G looked like a clown. Swinging that ear. Not hitting shit. And then Canelo tattooing him after. And getting out of there. It was a masterclass in boxing. Canelo thought he won the fight. As he should. Okay? And the same thing happened with Bivol versus Beterbiev. A masterclass in boxing. Schooled Beterbiev. They gave the fight to Beterbiev, which is a robbery, in my opinion. Robbery. Beterbiev didn't win. If you give Beterbiev 5 rounds, where you going to find 5 rounds to give Beterbiev in that fight? Let's go on to something else here. So the other thing I want to talk to you guys about is the upcoming fight with Tim Tszyu and Murtalayev, which is a Russian fighter. And it looks, I don't know. I'm not really intrigued with Murtalayev, but it's for the IBF championship. And here's the thing. I haven't seen Murtalayev, by the way, but to see Tim Tszyu take on Murtalayev, and we don't know what could happen, but let's say the aftermath of that, Tim Tszyu ends up being the world champion, IBF world champion. Then he has the options now of facing another world champion. Whether it's the winner of Fundora and Errol Spence, or whether it's Terrence Crawford, or whether it's whoever else. Well, there's nobody else. So it leaves the door open for an interesting 154-pound division. It can make things interesting. Now, I don't know if Tim Tszyu will beat Murtalayev. We'll see. But the thing about it is, this fight has interest to me only because of the prospects of what could happen after this fight, given whoever wins. Because I don't know Murtalayev. But the thing about it is, if he beats Tim Tszyu, Tim Tszyu's the name. Now, if Tim Tszyu beats him, then it gets interesting because now we have Fundora there right now as the WBC WBO champion, I believe. Sorry, WBC WBA champion. The WBO champion, I believe, is Terrence Crawford, if I'm not mistaken, and we are looking to see who the IBF champion will be. So that's going to be interesting. You know what I mean? You guys already know that IBF is talking about either rematch Bivol, that's for Beterbiev, or face his mandatory challenger at the IBF. So that's interesting as well. Now, with respect to some other news, we got news that Regis Prograis, of course, is going to be taking on very soon Jack Catterall. I'm looking forward to that fight, mainly to see how Jack Catterall will perform against Regis Prograis, both southpaws. Um, who do I favor in that fight? I favor. I think I favor Jack Catterall. Now I know Regis is a dangerous guy, but I think I favor Jack Catterall. Again, the boxing IQ. It's about the boxing IQ, ladies and gentlemen. It's about what you can do in that ring. It's not just about knockouts. It's not just about, trying to get sensational, stuff happening. So for me, Jack Catterall, is proving that he's not only world class, but he's a guy that's like a champion beater almost. And I don't know I don't think they're fighting for a world title, unfortunately, which is kind of unfortunate, but I'm looking forward to seeing that fight. That's a fight I'm looking forward to. Of course, I heard that Lil B up, he got smoked again. He got knocked out. So it looks like Chris Colbert has now suffered 2 major defeats of his career, and actually 3 major defeats of his career. And we'll see if he's what steps he's going to take next in his career. He's still young in his career. 3 defeats is not necessarily the end of the world, but I haven't seen the fight, so I don't know if he made the same mistakes, the same flaws, if he's falling prey to the same stuff. I don't know. So we'll have to find out maybe later on. But Chris Colbert, we'll see what happens with him. Okay, I'm not going to say too much more on him. The other fight that I have listed there somewhere is, I don't know if I have actually listed or not, but the upcoming Tyson Fury versus Alexander Usyk rematch. There's also a fight in November, something in November that's pretty interesting. Was it Prograis versus Prograis versus Catterall? Okay, so Tyson Fury, I think, is supposed to face Alexander Usyk December of this year, something like that, and that would be a good fight as well. So looking forward to that, and looking forward to doing let's see what else we got here. Looking forward to seeing a lot more from Usyk, Alexander Usyk. Now, I think he's been stripped of the IBO title because right now Daniel Dubois is the IBF champion. Not the IBO, but the IBF. Just beat Anthony Joshua. I don't know if they're trying to beeline to get Usyk versus Dubois 2 after maybe a Tyson Fury versus Usyk. I think it doesn't make any sense. I think, but who knows? Maybe we'll get one. Dubois is on a tear. But that's a big fight. Tyson Fury versus Alexander Usyk. I got Usyk beating Tyson Fury even worse than he beat him before. But that is what I got for you guys tonight. Now, if you got any other news in boxing, let us know. We're what you need, and we continue to provide boxing. We try to educate people on boxing as much as possible. I know a lot of y'all don't really understand the sport like that, but that's all right. It's cool. So grace and peace to everybody. I'm going to catch you guys later on What You Need. Don't forget you can like, share, subscribe. You can donate via PayPal. Don't forget it's brought by Live, Live, Live Now. We're live now. If you're in Trinidad and Tobago area, don't forget you can always place your order for What You Need cleaning products. I just showed the cleaning products. I didn't show the drinks today. All right. Have a good one.